Old World Nashville, Tennessee. Here we have a bit of an Old West looking photo. Looking fairly built out though. Curb work. Something to keep an eye on in my videos. Let's move through some of the pictures here. Interesting history, Nashville. Pretty sparse when I look it up. Looking for details. Civil War, racial issues in the official narrative, 2 cholera epidemics, a Great Fire of 1916, and you have the Centennial World's Fair in 1897 with the Parthenon and the Pyramid. Some interesting details there. But here we can take a look at a street in Old Nashville. Seeing similarities as to what we've seen in previous videos, the supposed power poles and the rail cars. Got a pretty prominent building in the background and very brick laden from what I've seen. Bricks and stones. As you'll see, there's the rail car look again. Nashville at night. Looks like they had a cyclorama. A little snapshot into the late 1800s. There you have the brick streets. Horse and buggy days, of course. The brick-laden streets. Very built out with brickwork. This one reminding me a bit of Spain. It's got an interesting feel to it. Flower festival, I believe. Scarrett College. Again. Industrial Arts Building. Peabody College. Vanderbilt University, looking very castle-esque. Interesting, this one I noticed the damage. Very prominent looking damage here on the fronts of the buildings. And you have again the brick and the rail cars all the way down the street. Let's take a look at this one. University Jubilee Hall, it looks like. Hard to find this one. So you definitely get the Civil War narrative. Very strong. Even the founding of the city, Nash. Let me double check that. This is just a quick summary on Britannica.com. Nashville. Give a bit of a history there. Some current population. Chartered as a city in 1806. Not much going on. We don't really get much going on until the Civil War. Then they have a couple blurbs here saying the city became known for many institutions of higher education, and it was given the nickname of the Athens of the South. So, before it developed the country music reputation. But again, very, very thin narrative. There's a mill, pretty blurry. Courthouse, postcard. Union Station. This one is spectacular. It has that, that's what I was saying, a textured block or textured brick look. Similar to what we've seen in places like Milwaukee, Buffalo, Toronto. There's the brick again in the streets. Got the ornate characteristics, old world characteristics. I believe this is a mansion. Hotel. Also very obscure, this one. Tennessee School for the Blind, I believe. Very unique shape, this roof right here. And that texturing again, you can even see it, even though it's blurry. You get the good sense of the bulging brick or block. Hospital. Bit of a mud flood feel here. Feels really high in the front, tapering down toward the back. Very detailed dormer style windows at the top there. Speaking of mud flood, City Hospital 1897, this picture taken. Right away jumps out at me the window height here, and what we can see of it. Very interesting. Also the foreground looking very rough, or barren, I should say. Customs house, modern day, looking very old. Old world. And as we look through the old pictures, I encourage you to consider the amount of work that would go into building this type of infrastructure, and then consider the time period that it's in. I looked this one up. The architect had used Egyptian style architecture, I believe, in this one. Unique look for sure. Have a bit of a destruction or devastation here. No context. Interior. They're calling it the Arcade. Belmont Mansion. And again, you have this old world feel with the style of the building. Horse and buggy days. Pretty blurry photo, but you see the pile of bricks. It looks more like something's being taken apart than being put together. Probably the roads taking the bricks up. Here you have the power poles again. 1860, this photograph from. Now, if we look at the history of Nashville, there's not much going on in 1860, according to the Wikipedia anyway. If you look in the background, it's looking pretty built out, and the nature of the buildings in front of us sort of contradict our vision of what we expect for 1860. At least mine. I shouldn't speak for anyone else. State Capitol building, interesting story here. Apparently built 1830s, 40s, 50s, 14 years. Took 14 years to build, I believe. Built by slaves and convicts, apparently. So I would suggest we have some very, very skilled slaves and convicts here. Either that or the historical narrative assumes anyone can do this type of work, which is dead wrong. All credit always goes to the architect and whoever funds the project, but it never goes to the people who do the work. Let's have a look at the infrastructure here again. Having more of a European feel to me. I suspect these are after the fact water collection towers. No, it's not Union Station. I don't believe. I don't have a name for it. Very textured looking building. Even these buildings here too. Same one we saw. Really want to illustrate the horse and buggy timeline here. Again, look at the buildings in the background. Look at the horse and buggy. Try to comprehend the physicality of the work involved. To me, it doesn't make sense. Very grainy, this one has the power poles. Arched windows. An interesting texturing here even. Detail. No detail spared, really. Some block walls in the water. Curved corners. Not a common occurrence this day and age to curve a building with the street. Notice how it moves with the streets. There's the courthouse again. I have Riverwood for this. I don't know if that's what that is. Anyone from Nashville, maybe you can let me know. Power poles. Ryman Auditorium. There it is again. Would love to catch a show in the Ryman. Now we move into the Centennial Exposition of 1897. I've got some visuals for you on this. Of course, the historical narrative always with these World's Fairs is that these buildings were fake or paper mache over wood. Or plaster, sorry, not paper mache. So, what do your eyes tell you as you look at these photos? Fact or fiction? Notice the aging. There's the auditorium. There's some aging definitely on the roof here. Tree growing right up against it. Not a new build as far as I'm concerned. Lit up here. Remember, this is not even in the 1900s yet. This one going back to 1879, predating the Centennial Expo. This is the pyramid. You'll see these columns in another picture. But it kind of goes against the historical narrative because this was all supposed to have been built for the Centennial Expo in 1897. So that picture almost 20 years previous to 1897. This is a curious photo as well. I think the flags are all the same graphic, just changed slightly in size. There would definitely be one or two flags that were curled a little bit with a gust or a twist of the wind. These are all pointing in the same directions. Strange flags put on here, photoshopped, in my opinion. There's your ticket. Enjoy the show. Same building we saw. On the waterfront here. Part of that flower festival we saw a photo earlier on. Some nice detail in the building in the background. There's the pyramid again. You see the posts down here, the poles, or columns, sorry. there's the pyramid. You can see the side of it there. There's the Parthenon. I love that Nashville has a Parthenon. Who doesn't just throw up a Parthenon? I wish my hometown would throw up a Parthenon. If they could do it in the late 1800s, they surely should be able to do it now, no problem. This looking old. Again, does not look newly built for an expo. You can see the weathering on the roof here. Looking old, feeling old. I think we've got vines here growing as well. Again, having a bit of an old feel. And well-established grass, trees, not far from the building. This is very interesting. Statue on the top here for flair. Now let's quickly jump over to Greece. Oh, no, we're still in Nashville. My mistake. This must just be some cheap imitation that they initially threw up. Meant to be temporary, but ended up being permanent. And there we are, 1897, lit up like a Christmas tree. There you're seeing the pyramid entry. Similar shaped building to what we see at a lot of the world's fairs. Certainly nothing temporary looking about these structures in my mind. So, I hope you liked this peek into Nashville. I enjoyed digging around for these. I would be happy to dig around anywhere anyone recommends. I'm interested in places all over the world. So I thank you for joining me on this little adventure. Hope you enjoyed it. If so, please like, share, and subscribe.